Welcome in, everybody. It is the Garner Racing Podcast. We are starting off with week 1 and week 2 already being complete, and it's been pretty eventful. Bear with me. I'm a little bit rusty. I hadn't been on a microphone, hadn't been on a setup. This is the first time I fired up the setup. It's the first time I've done anything video related really this year. Last year I spent a little bit of time doing some hunting videos and things like that. This year I haven't done anything. We focused on getting our new shop ready, trying to get the race cars rebuilt and everything ready for racing season. So here we go, episode number 10 of the Garner Racing Podcast. And just like last year, we've picked right back up where we left off. Outlaw Chassis Engineering. They're going to be a sponsor of the show this year. If y'all don't know what they do, Brett and the guys at Outlaw Chassis Engineering, they are suspension, body, and chassis specialists. So if you are starting from ground up from a race car, they can help you there. If you've already got a race car and you need some modifications, they can do that for you. If you've got a race car that's completely race ready and you're just having a hard time getting it to turn, or you need the seat moved, modified, the pedals modified, any of that, give them a call. Brett's number is 205-522-7759. They're on Granny Heights Road, if I'm not mistaken, in Cordova. And if y'all need any information, reach out to me on my Facebook page or just email me. Or, like I said, reach out to Brett at 205-522-7759. When they're at Sayre, if you guys want me to introduce you to them, that's how I kind of did it last year. I can introduce you to Brett, or come to me and ask me for the number at the track during the downtime there, and I can give you the contact information. Brett's got a group of individuals over there that all have experience. Brett's dad's been racing a long time, Gary Sanford Jr. and those guys. They really turn out some good products. So again, that's Outlaw Chassis Engineering. You can find them on Facebook, or like I said, give them a call, 205-522-7759. A lot of racing at Sayre this year. If you guys haven't been around the racetrack at Sayre over the last 2 weeks, I would say that you missed out. I've had to take some notes this year. Let me see. The amount of classes that they have at Sayre is Open Wheel, Super Street, Mini Mod, Buzz, Mod Light, Pure Street, Hot Shot, Super Buzz, Road Runner, Late Model, and Limited Mods. So about 11 classes. 2 of them rotate in and out. About 11 classes. 2 of them rotate in and out each week. So Open Wheel and Super Street roll off. Late Model and Limited Mods roll in. The week 1 was what I would call a smooth start to the year. I don't recall anybody getting just out of control. And if you've raced before, you all know the startup. Everybody wants to go win the first race or the second race or something. So the 4th place car passes for the lead on the first lap, kind of deal. I don't recall any of that really happening. There was some protest that's already taken place. We've had the best looking car awards. We've had what I would call a maneuver and run. It really wasn't a bump and run by Brandon Houghton on Micah Snow. So we'll get into all that. I'm going to run down the list of the best looking cars and what I thought about the best looking car competitions. And to be honest with you, there were some really good looking cars at the racetrack. The Open Wheel best looking car was Larry Rice. That's a really good looking unit. One of the ones that stood out to me, Drew Green's, was a phenomenal looking piece of equipment. As always, the Greens always have some really eye appeal. They always have eye appeal. Drew did a good job in his car. Good job on his car and in his car for the first week out. I don't know if that's a brand new chassis from the ground up build or not, but it looked really clean. It looked like there was a lot of thought put into it. He was the best looking car in Super Street. Mini Mod was Adam Gunner. His car looked great. White with some gloss. The wrap stood out a little bit because the way it flashed on the lights. That was a really good looking car. I believe that's a fresh build from the ground up, from what I understand. So that's a really good looking car. It stands out. Micah Snow's new. He's still got the Nissan. I don't know if it's a new Nissan or if that one's just had work done to it. But Micah's was definitely a good looking car. It's kind of a bluish color. Mod Light was Robert Nichols. I've said this before. I'll tread lightly here because I talked with those guys and they're trying to grow that class and they're doing a phenomenal job. The appeal of the car doesn't appeal to me, but the Mod Light itself is a really good looking unit that Robert Nichols has. The way he's, I want to say that's 2 years in a row he's had that scheme. It might be the third year, but he's kept the car looking really clean. And correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, if you see me there. But that car, it is a really good looking car. Pure Street was Noah Samples. It looks like the same car, but he went with a different wrap. It's a red with some, I think I'm going to say some white and black down the side, number 11. Pure Street. That was a really good looking car. I love that body style. And that's what I say about the Mod Lights. It's the body style that doesn't really stand out to me. The way they sit on the track and stuff like that. It's just not my cup of tea, but they were entertaining the other night. They were pretty entertaining. So Noah Samples won the Pure Street with a body style. He won the best looking car in the Pure Street with a body style of car that I enjoy looking at. Jamie Campbell won the Hot Shot. Super Buzz was Jonathan Eustace, and Roadrunner was Eric Vondren, I believe is how you pronounce that. I'll go ahead and tell you the best looking car for late model was Gary Nix in the Jesus First car. And then the limited mod, another one that really stood out to me was Jared Moore's car. It really looked good. It definitely has eye appeal, and those open wheels are growing on me, especially his car. Larry Rice's car looks good. I like the way that some of the BMF chassis look. These guys don't have them, if I'm not mistaken. Some of them may do that's been there, but like Jordan Key, I think Jeremy Williams' car is really, they just set to the track. Those cars really look good, but Larry Rice's and Jared Moore's stand out awesome. They really look good. The cars that stood out to me the most, if I was picking a best looking car out of all of them, Larry Rice's probably would have been my favorite car out of the whole bunch. Period. That would have probably been the best looking car to me. Now we'll get started in week 1. The Buzz started out by breaking into 2 divisions now. If you guys didn't know that, there's a Buzz and then there's a Super Buzz. So if I'm getting this right, you've got the what I'm going to call the smaller Buzz class is going to be the smaller engine cars with single overhead cams. And I'm almost positive that they cannot have VTEC in that class. That's, from my understanding, what I've heard talks is why Brandon Houghton may have to move up into the Super Buzz. I don't know that for sure. Definitely read the rule book. The Sayre just posted some new rules and says all of them's tentative. I'm assuming they're going to change the rules a little bit as they go, and they didn't want to put a locked down rules on things like the Roadrunner or the Hot Shot. And I would say if you're in the Buzz, you're in the Super Buzz, the Hot Shot, the Roadrunner, our class is going through some modifications. I would say be patient with them. The Hot Shot and the Roadrunner being split, it was to try to help you guys have more competitive classes. That would be number 1. Number 2, the Buzz and Super Buzz was to try to eliminate the guys coming out there that have a much smaller budget than some of the other guys that can't get put on the dyno and go buy a new computer and have it tuned. And that's not what the class was meant to be, but there's got to be growth in the classes. And for our class, I mean, they're breaking out the tube chassis cars are coming and run with us. The 16 car, Samuel Kelly, he was lightning fast the last race of last year. Done a really good job in that car. he's racing with us. I've heard that we might get to see some other tube chassis cars come and run with us. They're giving them weight breaks so that they can. Those guys are going to have to be patient because with those tube chassis, they're giving them the weight break. But if they come out, I'm assuming, and I'm going to just say whack us over the head. That's the only way I know how to put it out there. They may throw some weight back on them to try to make the playing field even. So I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, I'm just going to focus on getting, in my class, I'm just going to focus on getting my car the best it can be. And if it's not good enough, we'll look for some more. Just like week 1, it wasn't good, it wasn't enough. Week 2, it really wasn't enough. We just got a good starting position. But those classes, I would just recommend, if don't fly off the handle. Bam's trying to make it competitive. Bam's trying to help grow the sport, I guess you would say. And like he told me and Daddy, we always talk, mess around with him, and he told us the tube chassis cars, and he's very upfront about it. If you just go talk to him and ask him, what's the plan, what's going on. Week 1, there's no weight break. He came by and told us, y'all better weigh your cars. You've been racing long enough, and not in a mean sense, but just weigh your cars before the race gets started because there is no weight break. So if you've changed anything and you think the car is going to be light, take it to the scales. We're going to have them set up. So you're not coming across 1 pound light to start the year. We've been doing it long enough. So just trying to keep it competitive, I think, is what they're trying to do. Putting on a show for the fans. And us as competitors, we're not there to put on shows for the fans. We're there to beat each other, and that's that can get us uptight and get us out of hand. So that's just my 2 cents on the new rules, the new classes. It really didn't take that long the other night. Payout took a little bit of time, but I think that was mainly because the Pure Street, or I heard some people talking. My pay didn't take any longer than normal. I'm always going to stand and talk and go up later, but the pay took a little bit longer for the Pure Street, and some of those guys was complaining-ish, right? I mean, nothing crazy, but there was a protest the first week, so you guys got to experience a long night right out the gate. And so I would just also recommend, I like that. I like the protest. I don't mind there being a protest. It keeps everybody honest, just as long as it's, and this is really none of my business. I wasn't involved in it at all, but as long as it goes like it did the other night, or goes like it did when I got protested, or like when I protested Adam, I would say maybe 2017, 2018 when I protested Adam, and even when I protested Roy. There was a plan and all that for me, but I needed to see what I was getting beat by, and those guys making sure that it was by the rules so I could move on with that. I'm in my head, like I told my dad, if I can, and this was way back, if I can protest them, look at what they got, see what they got, know that I'm getting beat by something legal, I could care less if they cheat from now on. Tonight they beat me. It was legal. We'll move on from it. And that was 2 people that's had always got accused. I could say this about Adam is, as long as he's been racing that I've been around it, he's been accused of cheating. And I can tell you the way we talk about it, my dad said, until your car is handling perfect, don't worry about what they're doing. Until you've got the car handling where you can put it wherever you want to on the track, don't worry about what everybody else has got, because that's probably where they're beating you. And there's a lot of time that you can make up in and off the corner and through the center. So that's just experience. Like I told him, I had to look, and that was 7-8 years ago. So but you keep those things with you as you go out through racing through the seasons, and people's going to protest. And a lot of times if you're protesting somebody like Roy or Adam, or you're just protesting the wind, really. But I would say then there's the new things coming out, like these Fords. If we just get our butts handed to us by those, we're going to have to see if they got stroker motors in them or if they don't. And that's just my personal opinion. If they could beat us legal and beat us by the rule book, that's great. They're doing their homework. But I am the curious cat, and you don't always look like the nicest when you're doing it. And Bo Gray this weekend the first weekend protested Coy Thomas. I I don't think Coy's at the top of his asphalt game. I think that was his first race, and he won. So if I'm Bo Gray, I'm thinking, I don't know what they do on the dirt track, but I don't throw any shade at Bo for I joke and pick at him, but I wouldn't throw any shade at Bo Gray for checking, mainly because that's dude's first race, and Bo couldn't run him down, and Bo knows what he has. So I don't know. That was a long story to say that I don't enjoy the politics of the teardown and stuff, but I do enjoy the fact that racers still care enough and are not gun shy. They want to go and they want to see what their competitors have in a sense, and did it very respectfully. Both sides did. So that was a lot of talking for no reason there. Sorry about that. Running down rabbits. But so week one, on the start, I'm just going to go from the top down on my list that I wrote down. The races started out Buzz, Pure Street, Mini Mod, and then Chaos after that. I don't really remember exactly how they ran. I do remember watching the races, and really the best race for me over the last 2 weeks was the Buzz race between Micah Snow and Brandon Houghton. It definitely didn't end the way Micah wanted it to. Brandon put a little bump and run on him. We'll talk about that after we get through week one. But open wheel, Larry Rice was the best looking car. Barry Martin was the winner. Everybody, snooze fest, you could say, but Barry put on a pretty good performance there. It was some pretty good racing throughout the field, but then they scatter out. They get single file, and it takes the entertainment out of it a little bit. But it's the open wheels, and you love to hear them bust open throttle up off the corner. Super Street, Hunter Bobo won. Now, this was an entertaining race. Chase Argent in the 30 car, which is always, or since the class has started and he's got a car, he's been a dominant factor. He's running really well. I think he was the fastest qualifier. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he was the fastest qualifier, Chase Argent. And then Hunter Bobo might have started up in the front. Here's how it ends with Chase Argent right on the back bumper of Hunter Bobo, and it was a great race. And both of those guys are really good racers, very competitive, and it was a great job of driving clean. There was, I would say, a little bit of bumper from Chase, but just to see if he could upset Hunter. I think mentally more of a mental upset than a physically trying to upset the car. Just bumping him running into the corner a little bit and then bumping him in the center and a couple times bumping him off. But it was more or less, I think, just trying to play a little mind game there. And it wasn't anything hard or denting up race cars or anything. But it was a really good race. You would have to look and see. Melanie Umber probably has a video of one end of the track, and Naomi Jones has a video of the other. And they're always good looks at who's got the fastest car through the corner, who's getting off the corner, into the corner better. Both of those are really good angles. Really, really good angles. And sometimes I think it's Katie Eustace that sits in the stands, and she has some really good angles, and it gives you straightaway aspects how fast the cars are once they get off the corner and into the corner in between those two views. So I do appreciate those videos that everybody does also. Go back and watch them and seeing what the car does and seeing who was faster where, because we don't have a lot of help. So you can refer to those videos and reference those videos and see what's wrong with your car on both ends. When they get a glimpse of you, of course, neither one of them are usually videoing me directly, but maybe the leader or a race or just any part. They usually try to get everybody in the race. You can tell some bias in some of the videos, but that's what they're doing it for. They're doing it for them, not us. But we appreciate getting to look and watch and see the race from different angles than we can see from in the car. But so yeah, open wheel Barry, Super Street Hunter Bobo, Mini Mod was Adam. He pretty much checked out on us. He got a good starting position on the first week and got out of town quick. I was able to I started 7th, passed, of course, got to 4th, and then was able to catch the 16 and 25 and then the 25 broke, and so I got by him. But I think it was only because this carburetor or something like that. I think I heard carburetor bowl or something came off. Horrible Toyota disease. They could vibrate so bad, but I think that's what happened to his, and I was able to finish third in the first week, and Samuel Kelly finished second. So that was pretty. It was a pretty good race between the 16 and the 25, the whole race, and Adam was in another zip code. So first week, the Buzz, Mike Snow got the best looking car. Brandon Houghton won that race. It was pretty much a snooze fest. He got out front and just led the whole thing. Mod Light was a Spencer Reynolds. He's usually a threat in that class. Pure Street was Corey Thomas. Like I said, he got out front and just, I wouldn't even say he cruised to a win. It looked like he kind of fought the car loose all night, and anybody that's raced knows whether the car's too pushy or too loose, you would always rather have loose. So he was able to baby that thing to a win, and Bo Gray just couldn't run him down. There was the protest. It was very, how to put it, it was very professional, to say the least. He put up his money. He looks at the motor. They moved on. Barry actually was the one that did the final checking. They pulled the head. Checked the crank, did all the top to bottom checks on everything, and the motor was fine. Hot Shot was Kenny Hogan. Super Buzz was Matt Smith. He got out front and just kind of rode and won. And then the Road Runner was Eric Fondren pulling the doubleheader with the best looking car and the win, just like Adam did in the mini mod. So week 2, late models was racing, and we got to see Gary Sanford Jr. hop out front and led the race. He just smooth like Gary is, just very smooth. And then Gary Nix got the best looking car. Limited modified, the 15 car, Billy Black, was out front for a little while the pack was I would say finding their way to single file. Joey Morgan, of course, was on the move. He was coming on strong. Mr. Rayburn was also. James and Joey, I think, worked together on the cars in a sense. They were coming. They really did a good job getting those two cars dialed in, and hadn't done anything to screw them up yet, I guess you'd say. And if they do screw them up, they do a really good job of recovering. So Joey Morgan won the race. Jared Moore got the best looking car. Now, Pure Street week 2, which is why I would say Bo Gray or whoever put the money up, however it happened. I'm not calling Bo out with the money or whatever, but Bo was the protesting car on the number 2 of Corey Thomas for week 1, comes out and wins week 2, and nobody had anything for him. Why I think the protest was premature. Corey got a good start the first week. He's a good driver. Obviously has a competitive piece of equipment, and that's why he won. Bo Gray, the same way, jumped out front and led the Pure Street this week, and it was a good race. I mean, it was a decent race. There's not a lot of cars right now, but they'll keep coming. They'll be coming as it gets wound up. Mini mod, I was able to win by that much. It was a really good race. Chase in the 25 was behind me most of the race, and a breather. He busted loose coming out of turn 2. Adam, he got loose, and then Adam, I believe, was trying to come on and going to pass him on the outside as he recovered, but bumped him just a little bit, which sent him really lopsided, and Adam also. And luckily, both of their cars were so free. I think it's the only reason why they couldn't turn under me off the corner, because they were bad fast from center off. The 25 rode behind me. Obviously, with a little bit of leather, the race, he had bumped me a little bit coming off the corners, just because mine, I was having to baby it off the corners. Just trying to stay at a competitive lap without screwing up coming off the corner, so they couldn't ever really get a good run at me at the flag stand. And we was able to use a little bit of top end, drive the car on in, create some space, and they never could get a turn under me. But we started third, made a pass for the lead on the 16 car with about 3 or 4 laps in, and then was able to definitely was no riding. They were right there. Adam came from the rear, which in that case we was all single file. Me, the 25 and 28 went by the front row in about 4 laps total, and then the race was on from there. Luckily, they got tangled up a little bit there, and it created space for me. Then a caution came out, and I got a decent jump. Adam raced to the 25 and passed him, which basically got us down to 2 to go, and I was able to hold on to it right there for the mini mod race. Super Buzz, Chad Frost, he cut out. I mean, he was gone. Had a phenomenal car. The speed of that thing down the straightaway makes it seem like it doesn't even have to handle, but it handles pretty decent also. So it was a really good race. I'm going to say that Super Buzz class the first week, watching those guys go to racing wheels, was like putting them on a slip and slide. I think the racing wheels might have changed the gear ratio to the cars, and when they would go off in the corner, it was almost like whatever they had for gearing or the clutch weight or the flywheel weight, whatever changed also in the rules, and the diameter of those tires and wheels together, however that works. And I may be completely wrong, but it's like when they would go into the corner and let out of the gas, it was like the front end was locking on brakes with the gear, and the rear end of the car would just shift out. So you would almost watch every one of them go in the corner and then completely turn it back to the right. And they all had to make adjustments after week 1 to try to find some smoothness on entrance of the corner, because before they would fly off into the corner. When they had let out, it would kick the car slightly. That's why I think maybe the gear ratio or the total drive or whatever you want to call it, when they went to different diameter, the tires got threw off a little bit. That's just speculation. I don't have a clue about a Buzz car, but the way it was just power braking them, it almost seemed like that was the issue. But Chad Frost did a really good job. Hot shot was Jared James. He hopped out there, and I wouldn't say he wasn't lightning faster than everybody else, but there was a few cars that could have probably ran with him, but he still won pretty easily. And then Frank McLean won the Roadrunner. Now I'm going to talk about the Buzz, and this will take just a second. I like both those guys, Brandon and Micah. Brandon's worked really hard on that 16 car. Micah's worked really hard on the 26 car, and it took Brandon. He won the first week, so he had to start in the rear. So Brandon comes from the rear, gets a few breaks, if I'm not mistaken, with some cautions and a couple of cars. The 07, I think, and I want to say it's the 21. I don't remember that gentleman's name, and I don't remember the 07 car's name, but one of them's a Saturn, I think, and one of them's maybe a Honda Civic. But they wrecked going into turn 1. You can definitely reference Melanie Umber's video for that, and it has a clear view of exactly what happened. I went back and watched it. Don't know either one of them. Neither one of them. It wasn't for a win or anything. I don't really know what you would say happened there. I haven't talked to either one of those drivers, and I don't know that I ever have talked to either one of them. But could have been a racing thing. Both of them wanted the same real estate. Weird scenarios happen. Watch her video, make your own, speculate on your own. But Brandon Houghton at the end of the race is making a move, trying to win the race. Micah Snow obviously is out front. He's led the whole race down to the white flag lap, and they come out of turn 2. Brandon Houghton turns under him. I believe Brandon Houghton's intention was, I'm going under him. I'm already here. I'm not going to let out. It's the last lap. I think Micah Snow said, I guess, I'm here. I've led the whole race. I'm going to go off into the corner, run my line, and make him back out on it. Both of those positions I've been in. Brandon's tire marks on the 26 said he was there. But did he get it? Did the front bumper root him up and get him on in there? For the win on the second week of the year, I don't know that I probably would have squared him up and nailed him to try to move him, maybe. Not anybody, not definitely not the 25 or the 28 at this moment, because neither one of them did it to me the whole race Saturday night. So yeah, that's how I think about it. Like if at week 2 one of them pile drive me and move me out of the way, then hey, week 3, week 4, the rest of the year, that's how I would race them. So that they didn't, then I wouldn't race them that way for the rest of the year. And I think that's that respect earned, respect given thing that I'm about to talk about. Is if I'm Micah Snow in the 26 car and I'm racing with Brandon Houghton 3 weeks from now, and I'm going to take the possibility of taking the lead on the last lap or 2 laps in, it doesn't matter. I'm going to move Brandon. I mean, that's just, it's easily said, hey, there's no reason to be mad about it, get him on the next one. That's easily said. That's not how I would react to it. I'd be frustrated, obviously. You all know me, but I would definitely say it made for good, entertaining racing, and both of those guys' names are in a lot of people's mouths because of that one corner. What I would have probably done if I was Micah going into that last corner, in his position, seeing what happened, I might have would have moved down a groove. As soon as I came out of the corner, I might have would have moved down a groove, blocked his run, and then went back up and tried to make the sweep at the corner and have a good run coming off. But man, it's hard to say what I would do. I know who I race against. The way I got treated Saturday night was beyond fair. I was slower than both of those guys for about a quarter of the straightaway coming off the corner. Neither one of them rooted me out of the way and moved me. So they'll get that same respect from me. But now if I'm racing Brandon Houghton and I'm Micah Snow, by far the last thing I'm doing is worried about getting on the brake and not getting into Brandon on either end of the straightaway. Not to junk him or anything like that, but you should watch that. I think if they get to race with each other, I'm hoping that they'll put weight on Brandon Houghton for his car to be able to stay in the buzz. Because he's not any more faster than Adam has been to us, and he's not any more faster than, say, like Carter Murray was than the other fields, which just can't move them up. So I don't know that unless his engine doesn't fit the rules or something about his car doesn't fit the rule for buzz, throw a little weight on him and make it not matter where he puts it. I wouldn't say throw it on the right front of the car and upset his handling. Hey, add 25 pounds. Let's see what that does. See if it backs you down. But then again, I don't even think he would have got to Micah Snow if there hadn't have been a few cautions that took place. It was really exciting. It makes me, I like both those guys. I seen how they handled it after the race. I talked to Brandon and I talked to Micah. Intentionally talked to both of them. I called them both to me as they was coming by. We're right there in that corner. The bathroom's there. Man, I like both those drivers. They both are underdogs in that bigger buzz division. They was underdogs when everybody was together, but Micah led us some laps and he did some really good things against those higher powered cars. And Brandon, I've known Brandon, we've been slamming frames on trucks since we was able to drive, so we've been around each other a long time. Not necessarily, I would call us friends because, of the communications that we have still, but we're not close friends. I don't go to his house, he don't come to mine. We don't work on cars together. But we're definitely more than acquaintances, and he's a good guy. Micah's a good guy from what I know of him at the track. Dude, it was a really good race. I think y'all should all go back and watch Naomi Jones' video if she's got it on there about that, because that's phenomenal. It was a really good race. Some people can look at it and they don't like Brandon, or they really, really like Mike. I wouldn't say that it was a dislike for Brandon, but that you really, really like Micah, then it upsets you, and that's fine. I mean, you go to the track for who you go to the track for, but I like them both. And if I was Micah, I'd be upset, and if I was Brandon, I'd be happy. One of them got the trophy, one of them didn't, but neither one of them got junked. So it was a really, really good race. With that being said, I personally appreciate you guys watching my videos, and I'm going to say that about this, that I saw a little aggravation from some people about their photos being clipped and their videos being just little snippets recorded and put out there. Guys, listen, if y'all take into consideration when you're doing that. I have a hard time with it. I want to reach out to people and ask them. I'm going to bring something up here. This right here, I had this made after I won the King of Dixie. If y'all have been around racing, you know that the King of Dixie meant a lot to me. My dad's won it. It's always been that prestigious race for our mini mod class. There's been the Fat Daddies that we got to take home first and second in that, and then there's the Fat Daddies where we completely totaled race cars. But that King of Dixie right there meant a lot to me. We won't get into all the reasons why, but it meant a lot to me. And it means a lot to other people. And those videos, those photos, it means a lot to other people, but they're photos of your car, but they're not always your property. And these guys and gals come to the racetrack, pay their money to get in, like Melanie, like Naomi, like Katie. I don't know if Corey Guthrie has to pay to get in, and I don't know that Zach Washington has to pay to get in. I don't know all that, but I'm assuming that they do. They don't take those photos and videos lightly. Then respect them about them. If you clip something out of them, give them their credit and tell them if you want to see the whole deal, go to their page. Message them and ask them, hey, do you care if I take a 30-second clip it out and share it on my Facebook page? Or don't. I mean, it's not respectful, but what I'd hate to see is those videos and those photos go away because we all enjoy seeing them. And we can learn a lot about our race cars. If you're not there, like a lot of people, like Mr. Paul Jean, he travels all around the country, or I think he does for his job. I know he's out of state most of the time that I've ever talked to him or talked to Brett about him. If I didn't see him at the racetrack, he can go to those videos and watch them. Chances of all three of those ladies not being at the track to video, slim to none. And then also, it gives other people, if somebody's hospitalized or somebody's, bedridden and they really enjoy racing, they can watch those races because of those people. Respect it for that reason at least, and give them a little bit of credit about what they do. I don't care if anything I post or whatever, you can clip it, share it, steal it, do whatever, I don't care, but that's not my main goal, to create a interest on my Facebook, right? But some of those people, they mind. Respect their wishes. If they don't want you to snip them or steal them or whatever, kind of respect that, if you will. I mean, who am I? I'm not telling anybody what to do, really, but I am. I'm asking you so that we don't lose the privilege of getting to watch them video our races. And like I said, I don't think any of the three of them are videoing the races for me personally. Or, as a matter of fact, I know none of the three of them are videoing the races for me personally. I know they're not. But I can still watch them and enjoy it and get to see the outcomes and how we got to those outcomes. So, like, on the nights that you think that you made a mistake and you need to apologize to somebody, or if you don't think you made a mistake and you want to show somebody the error of their ways, y'all can get around and watch that video later. Kenny Hogan was always really good at this, saying, before you overreact, watch the video. And that sticks with me, as he was just a track promoter and owner at the time that I was starting a race, and I was an overreactor. He's watch the video before you get mad. See what happens. See, did you play? If you played a small percentage of it, of what happened to you, you still played a part in it. So take that blame and just go on to the next week. So, wow, say I learned something from Kenny Hogan, right? That's rare. Not really. Kenny's always been right there as when he was a track promoter, track owner, things like that. He always, he didn't always make the best decisions, but he always had a level head about it. And he did his best part to try to keep short track racing alive in Jasper, Alabama, and give us a place to race right there at that track. And it was always fun. Everybody can complain about it, but I bet a lot of people look back and say, man, those hot Sundays were some of the funnest racing that we ever had. I know me, Adam, Devin, Daddy, Jacob Capps, Brady Self, Billy Rhodes passed on. He was a great competitor. Joe Odom raced in our class, in our car, and in Kevin Harris's car. Kevin Harris, Man, that was some of Drew Upton came a few times. I think Chris Frost came with his white 64 car back 2014, I want to say it was. Man, some of that racing was the best. Chase Bradley came, Roy Umber came. We had some phenomenal races at Jasper, and it'll teach you a lot about car control. That track was about willing that thing, and if you ever race Jasper, it takes a little while to get Jasper out of your steering wheel because you're snatching and jerking, you're stomping the throttle, you're not easing into it, easing the brake at Jasper going into turn 3. But if you've ever raced it, you know what I'm talking about. But there was some phenomenal racing went on. But back to what I was saying about the videos, respect these people's wishes. If it's their product and they're doing it every week, and it just seems like they may be trying to do it for a job. Simple Moments Photography. Buy some of their videos. Their photos. Corey Guthrie. These guys are going from racetrack to racetrack, or some of them like Corey is just coming to this racetrack and trying to put back into the sport. I would say, even if they're not doing it for you, they're still doing it and you're getting to enjoy it. So kind of respect their wishes. But that's all I got to say about that. I appreciate you ladies. I know all of us don't always, we're not on the same teams. We can say that. We're in the same sport, not on the same teams. But I do appreciate the videos and appreciate you guys putting them out there for public for all of us to see. And I hope y'all keep doing them. But I've been seeing a lot of that over and over about photos, videos, clippets, and snippets and all that. So I do appreciate you guys. But that's really about it for the racing. We've got some exciting things. I've picked up some sponsors I'll tell you guys about. Young Jewelers, Rosars, Haynes Downard, West Farms Customs, a cabinet shop. If you don't know who Young Jewelers are, Mother's Day is coming up, and they are... I'm going to say they're the leaders in our area in Jasper, Summerton, all that for jewelry. They've been in business a very long time, and they're in downtown Jasper, have been in downtown Jasper, and they've got some great stuff, especially for your mom, for Mother's Day coming right up, or your wife, or wives, or girlfriends, however many y'all got. That's a good place to go. And on the contrary, what I always... took the picture of, that's an expensive place to be. That's how I always looked at it. But I'll tell you what, my wedding band, this is my second one from, my first one was too small. If you know me, you know why it got too small. We went in and picked up another one. Man, this thing was a great price. And I'm talking, I'm going to say for sure less than $300. I think it was closer to $120, but I don't want to put them on the spot that they got something that cheap. But I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure they got something for all walks of life in there, and the necklaces and jewelry and stuff like. I bought Riley this little bracelet, and of course, she's a very young girl. She's only about to be 2, but every year, or as she gets older, I can add links to it for her to be able to wear it all the way until she's full grown. So I'm hoping that's something that she'll have until she's, until I'm gone, and she can keep it forever. But that's just something that we can have. That's a memory set for the rest of our lives, and you can do that with something at any price range. Getting your wife something, gonna remarry your wife, get her a new ring, all that stuff, whatever you call that. But then West Farms Customs, if you're getting ready to redo your kitchen, redo your house, they build custom cabinets, and they do some great work. If you go to the Facebook page, West Farm Customs, and look at some of the work that they do, this is a single gentleman not a single gentleman, he's married, but one guy from his cabinet shop produces this, and it is like I've never seen before. I've never seen somebody do this type of cabinet work. He's got the machines to do and build the cabinets, and He is, as a trade, he does this. He has a job where he does build extremely large buildings, like a general contractor would do, and that's what he is. And Jeremy Colburn's his name, and he does a great job with cabinet work. I've never seen somebody build precise cabinetry like that. Not to say other people don't, but I know he does great work, and I know him, and he does very, very clean cabinetry work. and lots of other things. But that's his gig there, is doing those cabinets that you can call him about. I won't tell you all the things, but he's really sharp on a lot of carpentry stuff. Other than that, Haynes Downard, I've heard a lot of people this year. I was surprised. I don't know why I'm the talk of all this, but every time I talk to somebody and they're complaining about their taxes and this and that, they're complaining about how much they cost. If you're overpaying and you feel like you're overpaying to have your taxes done, call Haynes Downard. They got a building in Birmingham and in Jasper. And I'm not just plugging these. All these people have a personal connection to my life somehow. Me and Jeremy go to church together, and me and him really got introduced on a mission trip. As far as becoming to know each other, mission trip, we're in the same Sunday school class, and he's a great guy too. Young Jewelers, one of the ladies that's there is really good friends with my wife, and one of the ladies there is really good friends with my mother-in-law. I think they're all really good friends with each other. But the thing is, all these people have a personal connection to me, and I don't just take, I guess, all sponsors. This year is the first year that I've had multiple sponsors, and it's because all these people just came together and they talk about racing with me, and my wife reached out to them and just said, hey, if you want to be on the car this year, I always tell her I don't want the obligation of having to be at the racetrack week in and week out, but I don't have to look at it that way with these people. I'm going to give them a service with the car and be at the racetrack and going up and down the interstate with it on the car, and then the Facebook posts and the pictures and all that. But if you guys do and are overpaying for your taxes, use Haynes Downard. They are not overly expensive. I know what I pay to have my taxes done is much less than 80-90% of anybody that I talk to this year that's using these online gigs or this or that. Go down there and see those ladies at Haynes Downard. Talk to them about what you've got going on. That's what they do. It is absolutely what they do. They do it great, and they're not overly expensive. I don't think I would ever pay what some people are saying that they're having to pay to have their taxes done. Another thing, Graves Automotives, they do work down here in Calera. They're the next exit down from us, exit 228. They're on the windshield. Good Christian man. Malcolm he does some work like fiberglass work and body work on our campers for us if we need it. And they turn out really good products on vehicles and on RVs. Great group of guys down there. One of our ex-employees works down there now, so I know they've got experience doing it. And then other than that, we got Rosars. And if y'all know Rosars Paint, Dalton Hall's there in Jasper, there's not an easier guy to talk to. You can walk right in the door or message him on Facebook if you got projects. I would say some of you guys with body shops, if you don't already have Rosars Paint in your as your supplier, you're out of your mind. That's who I would use, especially if I was local enough to Dalton Hall's his radius where I could talk to just him. He's knowledgeable. He actually, when we got our paint and went in there, me and Dad did, and got our paint for our cars this year. Everybody might not get to do this. Sorry. I don't know. I'm sure if it's you and just Dalton, I'm positive you'll get to do it. But I got to go back and watch how they mix paint, and I've never done it before. Some of you guys are like, man, he's 31, never seen him mix paint. How they actually put the ingredients in and that computer tells you precisely. That seemed to me, I was like, man, that's easy. And then he was like, all right, well, here's this. Match this paint. Match this paint on this car that just got wrecked in the front fender. So you got a 6-year-old car got wrecked in the front fender. That's all that they're gonna replace. This man can take that and make paint match it. That's craziness to me. That's absolutely insane. And that's where that personal touch comes in that Dalton's got. That's wild. And so for me, I want to thank you guys for watching my videos. Thank y'all for supporting the racetracks. Week 1 at Sayre was phenomenal. There was tons of people in the stands. Week 2, it was another pretty good turnout. We had the late models. That always draws a crowd. If you hadn't been to Sayre, come to Sayre. Walk in the front gate, pay $12, get to watch. They got really good food in the concession stands. The nachos are my favorite personally. as you know, I don't make a dollar off of that. But if y'all keep coming to the tracks, I believe, in turn will get better things as drivers. The track will be able to be repaired. Brandon's dad, Jim, y'all know Brandon Parker and Jim Parker. Brandon's dad, Jim, and Bo Gray, which I think, Bo Gray, they fixed the leakage coming out of turn 4. Last week it rained just as much as it did the week before, and all the water was pretty much dried up and gone. So they did a really good job. Hopefully that repair will last and all that'll work. They busted their butts out there. They did a really good job. So I would say personally this: y'all come by Sayre, watch us race one Saturday night. If you've never been to a racetrack, that's a great place to start. Brett and those guys, they'll be down at Montgomery when they race their Pure Street class, I think is what it is. I have to talk to them more about what their rules are and things like that. But this weekend, and when I say this weekend, it's the third week at Sayre Speedway. Y'all have got to come watch. I'm hearing there's going to be some super street buzz. Hopefully it's this weekend. If not, it'll be 2 weeks from now. But come and check it out, man. Have a good time. Stay safe. If you guys need to know anything about the sponsors, you can reach out to me. But Outlaw Chassis Engineering is the sponsor of the Garner Racing Podcast. Those other guys helped me win my race car this year, and I really do appreciate all you guys for watching. Until next time, hey, keep them turned straight.